Ready when you are.
Okay, we're going to stand and say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Consider for approval of minutes and agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve minutes and agenda.
I'll second.
Got a motion from Jens Wolf and a second from Smith to approve the minutes and agenda. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, motion carries. 9 a.m. Sean Monahan.
Yes, sir. Yeah, pronounce it right.
Monahan, Corbridge Financial to discuss State of Iowa RIC plan.
Sir. Nice, look at that. Okay, thanks. So thanks for Carla for setting us up to be here this morning. Good to meet you three as well. My name is Sean Monahan, as we said. So really here to discuss the opportunity that Winnebago County has to opt into the state of Iowa's retirement plan on the 457 plan if they would like to. And so really going to go through the kind of the pros and the cons of that, the considerations of it, and really the baseline being that I'm not here because this does anything for Corbridge or for me. I am a salaried financial advisor, and I get basically I am paid to promote these products to the group plans that we support and basically try and get them into the most appropriate and suitable products as they can. And so as a whole, actually, Corbridge as a company would actually make less in fee income if this were to be opted into. And so the main reason why I'm here is honestly and truthfully because if I were working for Winnebago County, I would want the county to opt into this plan because of just the such better fee structure that it has overall. And we'll talk about a couple of the other different benefits. Quick agenda. This is going to be pretty quick. Not a lot of slides here, but just do a quick agenda run through here. So real quick, introduce Corbridge. If you're like, who even is Corbridge? That's what we get a lot out in the market these days. So we're going to give you a little bit of an update on Corbridge and how long it's been around. And then we're going to go through the Winnebago versus the RIC, Winnebago County plan versus the RIC, the state of Iowa plan. And then we'll go through some action steps if you were wanting to think about taking that next step. What does that kind of look like? And then finally, then have some time for some questions. So the first thing, who's Corbridge? So Corbridge is traditionally VALIC, and some I know maybe have worked with VALIC. Gil Evers has been the representative from VALIC who's been coming up here for a few decades, off and on, and Corbridge has now become its own separate company. So going all the way back to the late 60s, early 70s, VALIC was founded by a few different people who wanted to try and set up employer plans inside of K-12 schools is really how the company was born originally, because they didn't see that teachers and staff at K-12 schools could be saving for their retirements on a very efficient basis. So VALIC basically became a company to try and fill that gap. That's now grown into now providing 403Bs at schools, 403Bs at hospitals, nonprofits, and governmental is where it's kind of now expanded out to for the total markets that they work in. And then in the early 2000s, VALIC was purchased by AIG, one of the biggest life insurance providers in the world. And then in the late teens, about 2018, AIG decided they wanted to spin off their retirement services sector of their business into its own separate company, which is now Corbridge. So in 2022, Corbridge was spun off from AIG to become its own individual company, publicly traded on the New York Stock Exchange. So basically, brand new company as of 2 years ago. It really still has the underlying base and the broker-dealer type of a setup that VALIC has had all the way throughout, though. So it's kind of the bare bones of VALIC rebranded into its own Corbridge, if that makes sense. A little bit of history there. Any questions on that? Good? Okay. All right, so now just a real quick summary of the state of Iowa plan. That's kind of hard to read for you guys over there, which is fine. Long story short, the state of Iowa plan is very, very similar to the Winnebago County plan, except for there is a much lower fee structure because they have a lot more assets in the entirety of the plan. So there's the state of Iowa traditional agency plan that is part of the state of Iowa plan, and then there's also the K-12 schools. So all the schools in the state can also opt into the the RIC plan if they'd like to. I think about 95% of schools have done that across the state, and including Forest City. And then also, then the third section is the tranche where you guys, the county plans can opt into, and that's the public provider, public service side of the plan. So basically, municipalities, hospitals, counties, city government can all opt into this third tranche if they'd like to. And so that's where I'm basically making an effort to try and see if it doesn't make sense and see to work with as many of those types of employers as possible to talk with them about, look, this is an opportunity for you. I think at the very least it makes a good amount of sense to consider it. Does that make sense? To strongly consider doing so. And if you want to move forward with it, we can get it going. The state does have 4 total providers of their plan. So Corbridge is one of the 4 providers. There is Voya, Horace Mann, and Empower as well inside of the state's plan. You could opt to use all 4 of those providers if you'd like. You could opt to use one of them if you'd like as well. So I'm not going to, we'd love to just go exclusive on Corbridge, but if you guys want to, you know what, we could also bring in another provider or 2 or 3 or 4. You could absolutely have the ability to do that and use all 4 providers if you'd like. Let's see, no vesting required. Otherwise, it's a really similar 457B governmental retirement plan, just like what you have right now with the county. There are 32 total investment options inside of the plan. And so the state on every 5 years rebids, kind of does an evaluation and RFP is what it's called. It's a bidding process to figure out if they want to make any changes, one to the providers that are allowed. So the 4 providers, they actually rebid that out to different companies. So they just did that. It's actually been, it was the start of 2023 it began. So going through 2027 is the current 5-year contract. And Corbridge was retained. So the state has used these 5 companies at the end of 2027 for 25 consecutive years. They've retained these same 4 companies. And Corbridge did actually come out in the state scoring methodology. We came out number 1 in the overall scoring. They really like our fee structure, and they really like the amount of customer service that we provide for clients, which is coming on site, like visits like this, and then also doing complimentary financial planning for folks as well. Kind of the main big selling points, I guess, that the state really liked about Corbridge. Any questions, I guess, about the state of Iowa plan other than the fee structure, which I'm going to go into here on the next few slides? Any other questions on that setup compared to Winnebago's? It's honestly pretty darn similar, other than what I've talked about so far in fees. Questions there? Okay. All right, so now we're going to go through this example. I sent a little bit of a summary in this email. So an example, a 25-year-old starts working with the county, and they work with the county until the age of 56. And they invest $300 per month into a 2060 target date fund. So target date funds, if you're not familiar, basically it's where you choose your potential retirement date, it adjusts over time and pulls the aggressiveness off the table for you, kind of adjusts over time for you. And so $300 per month. We're just going to compare. The only difference in this is the fee structure from the one plan to the next. Using the exact same rate of return for both plans, only difference being the fees. Winnebago County plan fees for that product is 1.89% annually. And the biggest thing with this, the reason for those higher fees that are going to be just here for the county and honestly for a lot of these smaller providers, there's just not the assets underneath of the plan to cover the expenses that it takes a company like Corbridge to provide that plan on a very, very inexpensive basis. So it's just going to inflate the fees because they have to basically make their amount as well to kind of be able to provide it. So 1.89% annually. The balance at retirement at the age of 56 is $354,000 and some change. State of Iowa plan fees for all of our target date suite that we have through the state of Iowa plan is 22% annually. 22 basis points annually. Exactly, a little bit different there. So basically that means for every $10,000 that you would have inside of that account, you're going to pay $22 in fees on an annual basis. Every $10,000, $22 on an annual basis. Balance at retirement, $498,000 and change. So I'm just short of $500,000. All that to be said, a 28.88% higher account balance, just with that one difference, just the fee structure. This is basically so a huge kind of opportunity, and really all that would be is the simplicity of opting into that kind of that higher asset under management type of an account with the state of Iowa. Questions?
How can you, what are you guys doing different that you can afford to charge so much less in fees?
Yeah, so basically the good question. Main thing for that does come down to the number of assets that we have underneath that plan. basically the more assets, millions and hundreds of millions of dollars that we have inside of that plan, and even if you talk all 4 providers, I believe it is over $1 billion in total assets inside of that plan. That allows those companies to get very, very, very competitive because it's a competitive market. I think when they did the most recent contract, there were, I think, 9 total bids they put in place. So it gets all these investment companies, they want to stay a part of this. This is a very, very big chunk of money. They can get very, very aggressive on keeping those fees low to maintain being part of that plan. This is really as simple as
A
that.
lot like Winnebago being one of the smallest counties in the state.
Yeah.
It's a minimum cost of doing business.
Exactly.
And
Yep.
it costs us more per capita.
Exactly it. Yep, that's the basis. And another piece of it that is partially a difference. The Winnebago County plan is actually annuity based, and so that and the reason for that is that annuities you can basically if you have a much smaller assets under management, the investments are going to sit underneath of an annuity in almost all situations. As that gets bigger, you can then convert into a mutual fund based plan, and that's exactly what the state of Iowa has. And so basically mutual funds, a lot more direct investments, if that makes sense. We can kind of go into the differences of those. Annuities get a really bad rap kind of in the public market, and to be honest with you, in a lot of cases they probably should. They are very expensive, just as this shows here, and if we can get enough assets involved, then you can convert to a mutual fund, a lot lower expenses, and that is one of the main differences between these two plans, annuity versus mutual funds. So the state of Iowa's plan, no load, meaning no upfront cost, mutual fund based product that they have. So yeah. Any questions on that? All right, so kind of considerations here is really the opportunity to significantly reduce investment costs for every employee that would be contributing to the plan. Ongoing contract updates every 5 years. So this would be that would kind of be taken off of the county's responsibility because the state's going to be redoing that bidding process every 5 years. You guys could honestly, can maybe confirm that they're doing as you would like to do as well, but kind of takes that responsibility away from the county because the state's doing that on your behalf now by updating that contract, and probably the fees only getting more and cheaper and cheaper and cheaper over the course of time. That's kind of how it's been trending in the past. Investments are getting cheaper all the time. The state's going to keep pushing that forward. That's kind of how it's going to keep working for you. So, another thing, online enrollment. Right now, if somebody wants to enroll with the Corbridge plan through the county, we basically have to set up some time to do kind of an application process. If they want, they would still be able to call me. I would be the main person here. Gil Evers is also going to be continuing to work on this plan as well. They would still be able to call me if they want to set up kind of things together, make sure everything's set up correctly. If you just have somebody who already knows investments, wants to go do it on their own, some people don't want a touch point. If they have that kind of ability to go do it on their own, they have complete autonomy to do everything online through the state's plan if they'd like to. And then the last thing, opportunity, this is going to be on the challenge side as well as change. There's a great opportunity for some positive change to get included into this. If I'm being honest, the annuity plans, like this Winnebago County plan, they kind of are seen as the dinosaurs in the industry. And at some point in time, it probably does make a ton of sense to, again, at least strongly consider changing, and it probably should change at some point in time. Really good opportunity to push that envelope forward to create some of that positive change. Any questions on opportunity?
Go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll get to it. Perfect. Okay, so challenge. So kind of the opportunities and the challenge. Challenge, small cost to the employer, to the county. This is paid to the state, to the Department of Administrative Services, basically for their ongoing services that they would provide. So $100 to $400 initial fee, basically a setup cost for doing one time $100. No, total for the whole county.
Okay.
Totals, yeah, so very small. We're talking very small dollars. $100 to $400 initial setup cost, and then $50 to $500 annual fee that you would then pay pay the Department of Administrative Services on an ongoing basis, basically for their support that they're going to be doing and kind of the ongoing things that they'll be providing. Payroll process. There's 2 ways to do the payroll process. Send directly to us, as Chelsea's doing now, and we've talked through that, and she just got some support from some people on our team a few weeks ago. Or if you want to, you can also opt into the state's process. It does make, I've heard that it can make some things smoother because it all just kind of goes through the exact same kind of avenue, that we do a remittance process through a third party. It's actually through Voya. So if you want to opt into doing that, it's going to take some testing basically to make sure everything, payroll files are set up appropriately. And so if that would be a process you would want to undergo, then we have payroll resources who could be working with Chelsea or whoever else, testing out those payroll files to make sure that they're set up appropriately, and if you wanted to use that side of things. So kind of that's the biggest, I would say, initial kind of like, okay, we have to test this to make sure it's all going to work appropriately piece to be able to make that switch. And last thing, change. It's obviously, people a lot of times aren't keen on making the changes. If somebody, let's say that, for instance, if you guys were to choose that you want to go all forward with this, and maybe even don't, I know that you also have Nationwide as a provider right now, and you're saying maybe we're not even going to offer Nationwide anymore. I'm not putting words in your mouth, just a hypothetical. But if you were to do that, there could obviously be some pushback from people not wanting to cease with Nationwide, that type of thing. Kind of a little bit more of that lack of wanting to change things because of they're fine with their current service right now. Does that make sense? It's always one of the bigger concerns too. Any questions on opportunities or on challenges?
On the small cost part of it, do we currently have any costs involved with that? Okay.
Nope. So right now it all gets pushed to, I know on the corporate side I was pretty sure it's that way, and most of the Nationwide side or other companies as well. That's a lot of times how the annuities work, and that's why it makes a lot of sense for small employers to get these, because it doesn't cost the small employer anything. It pushes all the cost to the employee, and then yeah, exactly. So then no cost to the actual employer at all. So that's kind of the one, the employer cost.
I suppose, one of the challenges is if you have, is those numbers there based on the amount of enrollees?
It's based on the size of the employer. So you guys are obviously on the smaller side. I would definitely venture to guess that you would fall towards the $100 on the initial setup and the $50 annually, somewhere on that side of the range. But the state would have to, you basically could talk with DAS to get the exact numbers on how their numbers would come together. And I have work with them all the time. It'd be the type of thing, if you want those exact numbers, we can get them. That's basically me sending an email to request based on head count of the employer.
How about, say somebody was with Nationwide? Is there a transferability
Yes.
from them
Yep.
to
So
this?
exactly. So another kind of hypothetical situation to throw out. Let's say you were just going to go into the state's RIC plan on a go-forward basis. You weren't going to continue offering Nationwide. They would be able to, if they wanted to, transfer their account from Nationwide to Corebridge and basically have all the money moved over. They could also keep their current Nationwide account separate and keep their basically account balance that they have now there, and then start fresh with an additional account, start from zero with Corebridge as well, and go forward with the state.
But can we do that if we keep both as options?
If you keep both as options, keep Nationwide going and opt into the RIC, then they would not be able to transfer over to Corebridge as a provider. Does that make sense? Yeah. Makes
So
sense.
that might be something we have to look at in the future.
Yeah.
People
Are currently,
rather go over to
Yeah.
this.
If you guys are coming in and taking business away from Nationwide, they must be reevaluating their
that's a good question.
plan, or have they come out and counter-offered or anything like that with any other entities that you're?
Not that I'm aware of, no. It does become pretty hard to do that if they're not a part of this kind of ability to get into such a big, kind of a giant plan. Does that make sense? It's going to be pretty hard to get I know that if Corebridge was going to try and compete with anybody, if we weren't part of the state of Iowa plan, we would be like, from a fees perspective, we can't do it.
Nationwide's kind of giant.
It is giant, but I don't know, in the state of Iowa, I don't think they have the ability to offer the assets under management type of an opt-in into a plan like that the state of Iowa does. Does that make sense? That's kind of what I mean by it. So, because on an individual plan basis, a lot of times it doesn't depend upon the investment firm. It depends upon the actual employer plan and how many assets are inside of that plan.
I did look at the Nationwide fees though, and they're not terrible.
Yeah, we were looking at that last time. I want to say we were looking at a lot of the ones that were like around 1%, maybe a little higher. Is that right? Was probably maybe your average?
Lower.
A little bit lower than that?
Yeah. They're really not that terrible. I mean, I think these were lower, but I think the Nationwide were pretty good too, so. I feel like I feel like this would be a good plan. I feel like the employees could benefit from both the Nationwide, like some of our older employees that have been with Nationwide for a long time would want to stay with Nationwide. I feel like some of our younger employees that are just starting out
That was a question.
would really benefit
You've got,
from
your
this plan.
example was for somebody who's
Younger.
going to spend 30 years,
Exactly.
Mhm.
Yep.
at your start point.
Yep.
And how
So
does
I
it,
feel
how
like-
does it affect older, closer
Yeah.
to retirement?
I feel like,
Yeah, going to be less of an impact, definitely, for sure. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
so I feel like this would be a good thing for, you know, and we do have a lot of newer employees that, you know, so I feel
Might
like
wanna jump on.
Yeah.
we would want to keep our nationwide and maybe add this as
So
a,
for a management point, having two
Doesn't change anything.
doesn't change anything.
I mean, because we currently have to. I mean, I still do nationwide and we still do Corbridge.
Okay.
It would just change the fees, basically. I mean, on my end, that's all it would do.
would you automatically move the people from Valak to
We would go through a
this?
conversion process. It wouldn't have to be automatic. They could opt into it. So
Okay.
basically, I would talk with them each individually. You know, if they're already with Corbridge, I mean, man, it would make every sense in the world to do it.
Yes,
But it would not be an automatic. There would be there's a mutual fund conversion form that they would have to sign. I'd go through it with them to get that all converted for them.
Okay,
And then there's a quarterly, because it's an annuity, it gets a little sticky, but there's a quarterly conversion process that our company does to basically move assets, prepare the annuities to be able to move at the end of a quarter, and then they would move those assets kind of on a quarterly basis. Basically,
Okay.
it would work. So, yeah. And another thing to think about, I completely hear you on the, you know, they've been working with Nationwide, maybe they have another huge piece of it is working with somebody that you trust, and I completely understand that's a big part of it. Maybe they got with somebody with Nationwide they've been working with for, you know, I don't know, 2 decades, something like that. That's huge. That's a huge part of, they don't want to stop working with that rep. That might be definitely be the case. But outside of kind of the piece of an older, you know, somebody who's nearing retirement, is you'd also want to take into account, okay, but how long are they going to have the account into retirement too? And that's an ongoing fee on a higher basis that they'd be paying too. So it'd be worth at least running through that consideration as well.
If there's that kind of a difference in the long run, there's gotta be a fair difference in the short run
Sure.
too, so, I mean, loyalty is loyalty, but.
But, you know, at
I
some
mean,
point in time.
I'm assuming you're gonna say that even in the short term for the older employees, it's still gonna be financially advantaged for them to switch, isn't
Yeah,
it?
so we'll just do a quick real math and top level math in my head. So if somebody's about to retire and they have to just throw out $100,000 inside of their account. And so if they're gonna continue paying, and I don't know what Nationwide did, let's say they're with Corbridge right now on the annuity side, let's use that example. 1.89% on the target date funds. If they had $100,000 for every 10,000, they're gonna pay $189 in fees. So take that times 10, right? And that's you know, $1,890 that they're gonna pay in fees on an annual basis. If you did that on the other side, $100,000, $22 for every 10,000, $220 versus $1,890 every year. You know, that's $1,600 that they could be putting in their pocket rather than taking in the you know, being.
So what's
being
the
lost.
process if they take their existing and move it all to?
Corbridge. There basically would be a rollover process that we have a rollover center on our team. So let's say somebody wanted to roll from Nationwide to Corbridge. We have a rollover team who does almost all the paperwork for them. So they would basically get on the phone. Our rollover team would get on the phone with that individual. They would have a conversation of, okay, let's make sure we're doing with this. What you want to is rolling it into your deferred comp plan with Corbridge through the state of Iowa. And then they would get all the paperwork going. Then they would get Nationwide or whichever provider on the phone to then initiate that transfer. And they initiate the transfer, and then our team also then has all the paperwork done. The employee would only have to do a review and DocuSign paperwork, and then it would get transferred.
Are there,
Possible unless we drop Nationwide.
That's correct.
and are
Yes.
there fees involved?
No fee. Direct one-to-one transfer. You got no taxes, no fees, no penalties to move that money. Yeah. So. Yeah, I think we're kind of already here, but yeah, any other questions anybody can think of, by all means. I did have the handout there. That basically is the state of Iowa's Rick at a glance for another provider who has opted in to just have Corbridge. So it's just a summary piece that basically could be available for folks as a summary of how the plan works and kind of the fee structure and everything that's available there. And then the other handout is just a Roth 457B, kind of another handout that I would basically be handing out to any employees who are interested in Roth dollars, why Roth might make sense, kind of marketing piece that would be.
When things look so good, you always wonder what's the catch?
Yeah.
What's the downside?
I hear you.
Is there some kind of a
That's
downside? Is there
exactly
more
I hear.
risk or-
That's exactly what I hear you. I'm trying to go through the opportunities and the challenges there. From this perspective on it, they're really, as far as the fees difference, there isn't a downside on it. It really comes down to one is kind of an outdated product, and one is the updated mutual fund product that can get much, much cheaper. The only challenges that I could think of were really the ones that I've listed that we've talked about. And I hear you. That's what I try to do with every single person. I mean, I've talked with Chelsea about this too. If you work with a financial advisor who can't break down the pros and the cons for you, they're probably lying to you. You know what I mean? And then it's so important to me to be able to go in and say, okay, here's the good, here's the bad, and help you so you can try to weigh which decision you want to make with it. So that's exactly what I try to do. And I hear you. Sometimes it almost feels like in this situation it might be too good to be true. It's not. I promise. It really is not too good to be true. It really just comes down to those annuity products being pretty outdated and being very expensive. That's just kind of the truth.
If a person has a Roth plan outside of the county.
Yeah.
Can that be transferred?
Yes, so like a Roth IRA, is that what you're kind of, you can transfer money into the 457 plan, either from Roth IRAs, prior employer 401ks, that type of thing can all be transferred straight into your county plan. You bet. Good question. And that would all go through that same rollover team that I talked about before, same exact process. So yeah, can completely do that. Good questions. I like we're happy to take, and if you guys think of any, I accept, people are always like, oh, I don't know if it's like disrespectful if I ask this question. Hard questions, keep them coming at me. I know you guys want to vet this appropriately, and you should.
I love being disrespectful.
Well, yeah, right. It's not disrespectful. I don't see it as disrespect. I see it as you're doing your due diligence, and that's exactly what I completely hear. That's what you should be doing. So if you think of any other questions afterwards, give me a call. Get my business card.
I don't consider any disrespect.
Yeah.
Let me correct myself. I don't like being disrespectful.
Right.
I just like knowing.
Bring the hard questions.
If it's possible.
Exactly. Yep.
Sometimes stupid questions end up being not so stupid.
I couldn't agree more with that.
Sometimes not.
Yeah. All right. You never know.
So there's like 4 points on here, maybe you could speak to those.
Go ahead.
On this.
On the Roth. Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
It's like, these are 4 things to look at to determine if it's right for you.
If the account's right for you?
Mhm.
Yeah, so Roth can't contribute to a Roth IRA due to income limits. So Roth IRAs actually have an income limit where if you have it, depending, I think for married filing joint in 2024, that income limit's right around $240,000. And if it's single filer in 2024, I think it's around $160,000. Basically, if you make above that, you can't contribute directly to a Roth IRA. And so that's where an employer-sponsored plan that has a Roth option available has no income limit. So this county plan and no employer plan has an income limit on the Roth side. So if you want Roth dollars, you can do it. It's definitely straight into the employer side, no questions asked. That's the first point. Are young and in lower income tax brackets and they expect to be in retirement. Yeah, so if they're young, I'm 32, I do Roth dollars as much as I possibly can right now with that exact mindset because I think I might be sitting at a lower tax bracket than I may be in the future because hopefully income goes up over the course of my career and tax brackets are probably only going up too. So if I think that my tax bill is going to be higher in the future, I'm going to do all the Roth contributions, pay the tax now, have a tax-free bucket of Roth money later, and I don't really have to give a lot of consideration to tax brackets because it'll be tax-free. Make sense? Are financially stable but expect tax rate increases, right in line with that last point. Want tax diversity and flexibility in retirement. So this is where a lot of times it makes sense to have both some Roth and some pre-tax funds inside of buckets of both of those, so traditional and Roth built up, because then when you retire, let's say you're number one in retirement, you're not taking Social Security yet, and so you're sitting at a lower income in that year in retirement. Well, you could use pre-tax, take money out of traditional assets that are going to increase your taxable income, but maybe not put you up into too high of a tax bracket. Then let's say the next year you get a big inheritance from a parent passing away, something like that. Now your income's very high. Now you could take out of the Roth bucket if you need additional funds because that's completely tax-free, not going to touch your taxable income. So that's what that last point is saying. You can basically completely legally manipulate your tax rate in retirement if you have both of those buckets built up, traditional versus Roth. Did I answer that, Susan, for you?
It did, but that last one was
Yeah, that can be a
interesting, yeah.
huge consideration for people. Exactly. Like, well, you kind of go through the considerations of which one to do, and it's like, which one should I do? I was like, well, a lot of times it just makes sense to have both.
Mhm.
And then your lower earning years do Roth dollars, and your higher earning years do traditional dollars because you're getting a tax break on that high tax bracket during those high income years. So, yeah. A lot of times that can get very confusing too. So if that wasn't clear, more than happy to walk through it some more. Nice. Any other questions? Just think of anything?
I don't have
I don't either. Everybody's in a different spot, you know.
Yes, exactly. Yep.
Financial investments. and-
I hear you. You know
any. Bill, do you have any more questions?
No, I shook my head no, couldn't you hear that?
We're not in that horseshoe tables. All right.
Awesome.
Well,
Thank you
Thank you very much.
You have I think each of you have that business card in that folder, so you got all my contact details. If you want to get a hold of me and ask questions, let me know. Otherwise, I'll just, can wait here. If you guys want to move forward, we can ball rolling
That's
wherever
our
you'd like.
next item on the agenda, so.
Awesome.
Can you share quickly
Yeah.
who has been participating as far as groups?
Other areas? Yeah, it's a good question. So just had, so the city of West Des Moines, I'm from West Des Moines. I live down in the Des Moines area. I support, I'm from Rockwell City originally. I think we're pointing that way, right, West? Yes, West, there we go. So from Rockwell City originally, so I support a lot of northern Iowa, northwest Iowa, and then I do a lot of central Iowa. And so inside of those plans that have opted into the RIC plan now would be the city of West Des Moines, Wright County, and then we just had the Des Moines area Metro Planning Organization, kind of it's like a piece of the DOT, but seen as a separate provider. I've been the recent ones, but I'm working with basically all the county plans that I work with to try and be like, hey, look at this. This is an option. Like, again, at the very least, it makes sense to strongly consider. So some of those other county plans that we have that are going through that consideration process would be Calhoun County, Pocahontas County. Let's think. So there's some other, as I already said, I think that Wright County's already doing it. Franklin County's in consideration, kind of going through that process one by one to kind of go through it.
And you mentioned school systems.
School systems are all inside of a 403B plan, not inside the 457, but have the exact same fee structure, exact same investment options as the state of Iowa. So the exact same one on that sheet. The schools all have that ability too. Yeah, you bet. And it is the vast majority. Almost all of the schools have opted in. They did a lot more of a effort of kind of outreach and to have the schools consider, and strongly were like, hey, let's think about doing this. When the state came out with that tranche of their plan, they did a ton of outreach to get as many schools opted in as possible. That didn't happen on the county side.
So when you were in high school, Rockwell City was Donnie Anderson.
He was not. He coached both my brothers.
There,
Yeah, I know. Yeah, you bet. No Don?
Well,
Nice.
he used to be the football coach in Buffalo Center.
Yeah, yes.
Thompson.
And Thompson.
Ian Thompson and yeah, then there's
I used to go fishing with him.
Battle Creek
so-
out of Grove. Yeah, Don is awesome. He lived about 3 blocks from my house. Yeah, you betcha. Ball of fire.
Oh, yeah, he likes football.
That's right. Yes, he does. So, awesome. Well,
All right.
no other questions. I'll take off. But
Thank you.
All right,
absolutely. You
yeah,
bet.
thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Number 3, consider, we're past, we have to push that back. We have a 9:30, Julie Swenson, treasurer, to discuss possible action semi-annual report. Thank you, John.
Here's a copy for you guys
Hi, how are you? Good.
to look at. There's a lot of information there. I included what we did for a cash count on June 30 as well in the back.
Thanks. See you.
I was just curious about the opioid fund.
Mhm.
Happened to be, saw some information on it online. And so our fund is 82,000.
And your opioid,
Or am I not right?
yes.
Union treasurer's balance, 82,000.
Mhm. I have some invested in iPaid and some at the local bank.
I mean, I knew you were, that's what you did.
Yeah.
$111,000 under solid waste planning trust fund. That was the tipping fees that came in then.
Where are you looking at, Terry?
The last page. It's, where'd it go? Just turn my eyes.
0048 solid waste
Yes.
planning trust fund.
So just about 112,000 was the tipping fees.
Yes.
And you have those invested somewhere as well.
The solid waste,
Yeah.
that gets moved out at the end of June into the general.
Oh, it does.
Mhm.
Yeah, we kind of budget with that.
Okay.
Part of it goes to
Yeah.
our recycling and other things.
It's done by an auditor transfer, but we have to work with the bank to get the exact interest. And this year it worked out well.
And some years it hasn't, right?
Right, yeah. so
Remember that, I remember that.
A lot better this year, so.
What's the use tax?
Where are you at the back
Uh,
side? That's probably
Last
our
page,
50/20.
50/20.
motor vehicle, that's all motor vehicle,
That's
50/10.
just a,
50/20, that's sales tax that we collect off from new purchases or
Oh,
old
okay.
people's
you get
vehicles.
a car, or
New or
use tax.
New or used, yeah, cars, trailers, trucks.
Yep.
Yeah, so we collect a lot of money for the state.
So that all pass through or is it partially passed?
Partial, yeah. And our funds that we've asked for has passed through legislation, so we'll be earning more money to keep for the county, which is a good thing. Yep, so we're excited about that, so we'll be able to bring more revenue in with our transfers that we do.
Cover, offset the cost of the office. They haven't made anything any easier, have they, as far as all that stuff goes?
Nope,
Remember here.
I don't think it'll ever get easier, no. No, because
Computers
they're
are supposed to be better, so.
become, right now, we're doing the contiguous counties, so we're getting a lot of the counties coming in here. And then January 1st, it's going statewide, so we can even get Polk County down here to do transfers. Because we do a lot of out-of-state, or out-of-county driver's license. So it's just more revenue, but it's a lot of work.
But in the same manner, they could be somewhere else getting their license too.
Right, we do have people that probably work in Mason City that go to,
They work at the
Sarah Borough.
hospital and just go there.
and we do charge an extra fee for out-of-county, which we are allowed to do. So we do charge $10. So that comes to the county as well. So we're trying to bring in more revenue.
So that formula that changed, is that dramatic or just slightly or?
Yeah, so we were like allowed for per title $7, and now that went up to 10. And liens, that everything went up $10. So we should be able to save a little money.
Up to $10.
Up to $10, yeah.
So,
So instead of a $25 title transfer fee, you're gonna pay $35.
so about a 40% increase in revenue.
Yeah. So we've been working on that bill for a long time, and finally they gave in and passed it, so we're excited.
Any questions for Julie that would be on that?
So there's two conservation ones, the Conservation Trust Fund and the Conservation Special Projects Fund.
Mhm.
Is that just, where did that fund come from? Conservation, do you
It's just different ways that he separates out his money for different projects that he does.
And like his grant money and his cabins all go to, like the
To
grant
one of
goes to the trust, and the cabins and range, fire range go to the special.
I see. Okay.
Mhm.
getting one stamped or?
Yes, please.
I have this one here that if I could have
It's got
here.
3 signature spots on it, it's 3 stamps.
Yes, we're gonna do that, but I'm doing things a little different. But I want one for my records. So I'll have you guys sign there. And I'll ask Terry to stamp this one as well, and, oh,
Yeah, all the power's over here.
all the power's over here. Yeah, and I just need Terry to
They
sign
don't
this
trust
one.
me with anything other than sign.
And this is just, a condensed form of what all these, yes, because I don't need to publish everything that's in here. So
Okay.
I'm,
Well, that's
That's what
probably
it's
good,
published.
because this
Yeah.
could get really confusing.
yeah, so this is just showing the funds and balances. So if I could get Terry to
Did that
sign
one get
that
stamped
one.
too, or
Well, I thought he was gonna stamp it.
Oh, we didn't-
I didn't hear the stamp.
And I don't know if you really have to go through all this process with it anymore, because it's just a report that I'm giving to you guys.
We like signing things.
So we'll just continue this way and thank you, and then this one, if you can sign that, please. And then Carla, if you wanna sign.
Are you gonna make a copy for me?
Yeah, I gave you the original copies, and then I'll make this one that's
That would
signed.
help.
I suppose
And then-
this as well.
Yeah, I'll make the,
This
Or
one,
stamp
the
it.
motion
if you
to
make,
approve
put
the
it in
semi-annual
minutes
report.
too for your paper.
I do not.
Treasure.
Okay,
That's good, because I already signed
I know.
alright,
it.
So we maybe need
got
a
it.
motion. How about if we vote on it too?
Did you make the motion?
I made the motion.
did we
So I've
pass?
got a motion from
We already
Smith.
signed it before we passed it, so I made the motion.
Okay.
So I got a motion from Smith and a second from Jensvold to approve the treasurer's semi-annual report. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries.
I threw us off because I said, don't we need to stamp that?
Alright, thank
Then
you.
that needs to be
And
stamped.
if you have any other questions, you can just stop down and.
All right, thank you. Okay, going back to number 3, consider for approval, Winnebago County to make state of Iowa RAC plan available for employees through corporate financial.
I saw that. I couldn't really see any, if we're having a discussion about it, I couldn't see any downside unless Chelsea does or.
I don't think Chelsea does. I think what we need to do is get rid of our traditional ballot plan, have those people switch over to the Corbridge and keep the nationwide.
Because they would have to.
No,
Right,
They don't
you can't buy
Ballot,
ballot.
ballot you can transfer over because it's the same
Same
company,
Right.
but nationwide you can't.
So
You
that
have
would
to
be
cancel that so they can transfer.
not required but highly encouraged is what you're saying.
I think that's a transition later, maybe.
I don't want to get rid of nationwide. And I know other employees that don't want to get rid of nationwide,
I can see that.
so.
So I think
You had your hand up, Chris?
I have to leave in like 2 minutes.
Oh.
Could we switch to me?
Well, I think
So-
we're about done here, then we'll just move on. Are you okay with that then?
Bill?
Yeah.
I'm fine with it.
All right. I'll entertain a motion for that then.
I'll make the motion to make available state of Iowa RIC plans for employees through the Corbridge Financial, but not require.
It's an optional plan.
Option.
Yeah, this is an option.
Is that second?
I say.
Okay. I've got a motion from Smith and a second from Jensvold to add the Corbridge financial plan as one of the options for the employees. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. All right, we'll go down to drainage.
Thank you. Well, it's next, so.
You are the only participant.
I don't have anything.
It seems to be working better.
I haven't had any, knock on wood, I haven't had any calls.
Aye.
But I think when people go to maybe take out their crops,
Or the more
Good.
spraying, they're just getting in for spraying now.
yeah, so we might get some now,
The
but
problem is they're hiring spraying, so those guys aren't gonna tell them anything.
Unless they fall in a hole.
and then we'll hear right away. But
I don't
thankfully,
have anything else either.
I did see a picture of a guy's sprayer that,
Yeah, I
all
saw
those
that.
tires are, did you see that? Buried, you couldn't even see the back tires.
Oh, actually, there's one local that was.
Well, I saw one where it was on the side, like one whole side went down.
The guy who lives north of the casino, he well,
I know.
but,
It's not been fun for people. It's been very stressful.
right,
There was
and I
one-
feel awful for all of them.
there was one in DD 21 right by Raid, but, when I went up there, the water was all gone, so it was just.
Everything was overloaded. I mean, that's just the way it was.
We're flushing out the system now.
Yep,
Yeah.
so.
All right, anything else? All right, thanks, Chris.
Thank you.
Did you have any questions on claims?
I didn't see anything about that.
That $10,000 one under auto purchases.
That was the EMS to do some outfitting. That was a grant,
Okay,
so it's a
that was
pass.
part of the grant.
Yep,
Pass
Yep.
through.
the grant was 10 grand, we paid the 10 grand because we needed to get the money
Right.
to send out.
All right.
So,
That was the only one I had a question.
and then Carla can help you with the drainage levy, but that was pretty standard with how we do things and so.
All right,
All right, thank you guys.
All right, but
Thank you.
consider for approval 2024 drainage levy resolution. Apparently our auditor is gonna help us with that.
Yes. There you go. You can pass those down because they're all
oh,
the same.
there's three there.
Yes.
Go right on them though, because they're not ours.
Yeah.
We're up to number 6, is that what you're asking?
Not even there.
Huh?
Yeah, they're busy this morning.
Really?
Yes.
Look at all that drainage.
Repairs. Looks like I've done my job on number 12.
Taking credit for that?
No requests.
Did you answer the phone?
Oh, yeah. Any questions on the drainage levies?
Do they need to be stamped?
Yes, she would like all three of those stamped, please. Actually, mine doesn't need to be stamped. Chris would like hers stamped, please.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I guess I have Carlos and it just got scanned.
Sure. We were.
You don't need to sign it. You can just leave a,
50 years from now, somebody will
Stamp
pull
an
that
error
up
on
and
there.
say,
Say, why wasn't this one stamped?
Uncle Jerry didn't spend any money in his district. No repairs.
One district. Fairgrounds. We probably have it next year. They did some repair.
Did they get done?
Did you get a motion?
Nope.
I'll
I'll
make
make,
I've got a motion from Jensvold and a second from Smith to approve the 2024 drainage levy resolution. Is that correct?
that would have been my motion, yes. Thank you.
And her second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries. Scott Miners, engineer, will discuss secondary road matters.
other than what's on the agenda, I don't have anything.
Thank you, sir.
Maybe I will mention, our guys are mowing, and,
Past one.
Actually, when I mentioned it last week, it was like mine got mowed the next day.
I don't know if that's a coincidence or not. I mean, we have 3 mowers and then a 4th one with the bat wing, and they're moving, so. As I mentioned, usually it takes about 6 weeks to get the whole county mowed, so it's usually into the 2nd week of August before we're done. So if anybody's worried they're not being done,
I think
Go
they're
ahead and
just-
call
I think
in,
they're just
but-
worried about things going to seed and,
Sure.
I have a definite problem with wild parsnips, so that's why I like to see them get mowed. That we'll get to talk about a lot at some point.
Why is it you always meet them over on top of the hill and no passing zone, or come up behind it? Would you guys do something about that?
well, in your neck of the woods, not a lot of hills.
Well, I was closer to, it's on the 842.
Yeah, I suppose the further west you stay, the less likely it is that you'll come upon a hill.
Say, I do have one thing, there's evidently a lot of thistles growing in the ditch on both sides of 460th, in between R20 and it'll be 10th and 20th Avenue.
So it's getting real pretty.
Yeah, no, the thistles all dead now, nice and stuff, I guess, yeah.
Lots of goldfinches.
Yeah, probably so. The county attorney's husband doesn't like them.
Not really.
This year has been a really good year for thistles.
It's been a good year.
Most weeds are
Most
doing pretty good
yeah.
this year. Pretty good crop of weeds.
Even the ones in the cracks in the road are growing good, so.
Gotta have more traffic out there, beat that down.
That would benefit quite a bit rather than use where. Any other questions for the engineer?
None.
All right, move on. Public hearing on proposed plan specifications, form of contract, and the estimate cost of Winnebago County Storage Building. I'll make a motion to open the public hearing.
I'll second.
Got a motion from Derby and a second from Smith to open the public hearing. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, motion carries. So have we had any submitted comments to start with on it? Apparently not. You haven't had any? All right. Is there anybody in the room that would like to comment on the plan specifications, form of contract? Hearing none. Is there anybody online that would like to comment on the public hearing for the plan specifications and form of contract for the storage building? Hearing none, I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
We got a motion from Derby and a second from Smith. Close the public hearing. The Winnebago County Storage Shed information. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Okay, consider for approval, resolution approving plan specifications, form of contract, and estimated cost of the Winnebago County Storage Shed.
This is a little bit redundant because we approved plans weeks ago, but since the public hearing was held now, I thought it made sense to approve it again and by formal resolution.
Okay. So I will make a motion to approve the resolution approving this plan specifications, form of contract, and estimate of cost for the Winnebago County Storage Building project.
I'll second that.
A motion from Derby and a second from Smith. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, motion carries.
First one goes in the garbage, second one you sign.
Bring one to them.
I messed up on the first one.
I thought you were talking about my stuff.
No, I'm talking the bill.
Don't throw mine in the garbage.
So which one's the right one?
The one with the 2 and the resolution number.
Okay, consider for approval a resolution accepting bids for the Winnebago County Storage Building and award the associated contracts to the same and authorize the county engineer to execute said contracts and performance bids.
Okay, we had a bid letting on Friday, and we got a good number of bids for all 3 packages, the general, mechanical, and electrical. The estimate was $845,000 for all 3 packages, and the low bids total up to about $712. So bids came in really nice.
What was the high one? 840?
845 was the estimate that I put together.
Oh, that was the estimate. Oh,
712 was the total of the 3 low bids. 607,000 from Kingland for the general package, 55,900 from Young Plumbing and Heating, Lake Mills for the mechanical package, and 49,800 from Grow Electric for the electrical package.
It was fairly tight bidding.
Pretty tight, yeah. I was happy we had enough bids to show that, you know, they were all in the same ballpark. And
One was the electric, there was a little gap there, but
yeah, little gap there. Nonetheless, 2 solid bids from local guys. So overall, you know, general contractor from Fort City, and then the electrical and mechanical contractors from Lake Mills for a project that's in between. I think that's pretty cool.
so I'll make a motion to approve the resolution accepting the bids for the Winnebago County Storage Building project, award the associated contracts to the same, and authorize the county engineer to execute said contracts and performance bids.
I'll second that motion.
A motion from Derby and a second from Smith to accept the bids and authorize the county engineer. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. So you need, how many stamps?
Stamp, does it need your signature on there?
Just a signature, and there's 2 copies there. Each one is 2 pages. 2 signature pages.
This is yours.
That's mine. So those 2 together.
Stamper's not wild.
So Kingland Construction was 607,000, Young Plumbing and Heating was 55,900, and Grow Electric was 49,800.
Normally have our bid lettings at the DOT, of course, so I don't get to participate. It was fun to be involved. Several of the contractors were there in my office when we opened them, you know. That's,
It's exciting,
Yeah.
building things exciting. And hopefully there'll be no change orders or anything that you've forgotten.
hope I've done a good job,
Yeah,
and we'll see.
all right.
That's not his.
Oh.
Jerry did his homework. He did it for us. Thank you.
Consider for approval adding Molly Eichenberger to the medical examiner list.
Well,
Who is she with?
She's with Mercy.
she was at Buffalo for years.
Okay.
Between my dad and my mom, it's just like she's a friend. I get to see her all the time, or my wife.
So this isn't conflict of interest.
Okay, that's
Mom
for
was a
you.
good gal.
That's for me. Thank you.
I would-
I'll make a motion.
There you go.
I'm gonna steal that.
Do it, do it.
I've been quiet over here long enough. I'll make a motion to approve adding Molly Eichenberger to the Winnebago chapter list.
One second.
I've got a motion from Jessel and a second from Smith to add Molly Eichenberger to the medical examiner list. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, motion carries. Open forum. Missy, you have something for open forum?
Yeah, I wanted to introduce you to the new director, started July 2nd. This is Chris Barber, comes out of Hardin County.
Okay.
Bill Jensvold, Susan Smith, Terry Derby.
Nice to meet you. Welcome.
We've met everybody else pretty much in the courthouse, I think, so far. But yeah, so it's one of the few times we've actually gotten out of the office today and last week. And we had our grand opening on Saturday. We had over 300 people come through there.
Good.
So Lake Mills, Forest City, everybody was they saw it in the parade. We had
Yeah.
a float in there and we've been advertising
Did you
it.
have one float for the two parades or? did
No,
you-
no, we had Julie Higginson and
Okay.
Lynn were down here, and his daughter, I think, was in the
Yeah,
parade.
my younger guy.
And then Jeff Schmidt, his family were up in Lake Mills.
Yeah, I saw Jeff's.
Yeah, so, yeah, it was good. It was good day, good turnout.
Good.
Everybody liked what they saw. We have some displays set up and, we've got a new donor board, so you'll see your board of supervisors on there. And it turned out really nice.
And the sign, the highway sign looks nice too.
Yeah, it looks nice, doesn't it? Yeah, Scott was just asking about that when we got there. Yeah, it's,
Good. Readable.
yeah, and it says Winnebago County on there too.
That's a plus.
It come out of Minnesota, but one of our board member and her husband paid for the sign, so they donated that sign to us,
Good.
which was nice. Yeah. Anyway, yep, so I just wanted to get Chris in here to,
We've been having the discussion about one of us coming to your board members.
to meetings. I mean,
Meetings, sorry.
yeah, Willie he came for a couple of years.
Mhm.
Yeah. And it was always good because when I came in here to talk to the board, he was usually familiar with what we were talking about. So it was all positive. Yeah.
Good.
So anyway, yeah, you'll be seeing Chris around.
Well, welcome.
Thank you.
Excited to work with you.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here, for sure.
Where was it you come from again?
Hardin County,
Or,
yep, I work for, conservation there, I manage the nature center down there, so. Some of the similar stuff, it's good to, see everything that's been done so far and look forward to, seeing where we can make it.
so why would you want to move up here into the tundra?
Well, it's promotion, so it's a step up, but, my wife's actually from Forest City, so
Oh, well, that helps.
we do have some ties,
That's a powerful force.
Yes.
That's great.
Yeah, it was a little easier for my daughters are just about 13 and 10, and so her folks still live here, so
Yeah.
close to grandma and grandpa. So
Yep,
Oh, good
that's
for
always
you.
nice.
yeah,
Where are you originally from then?
I grew up in Dysart, Iowa, so south of Waterloo.
Riser.
Yeah.
Gee, I've been caught in the rush hour there a few times.
Yeah, I bet you were sitting for a while
Oh, well, that was tough.
at the blinking stoplight.
Yeah,
Yeah,
You had one of those?
yeah.
yeah.
Wow.
In fact, at one time we had two.
Area then.
Buffalo Center used to have one, but they took it out.
Right on the highway then?
So
Yeah.
who are Grandma and
Towns
Grandpa?
just put
I'm curious.
Where do they live?
LED.
Who are they? Bill and Sue Byers.
I saw
Oh, okay.
We worked at 3M for.
Okay.
So, Robert, when is your last
Well,
day?
31st is the last day. I'm gonna be done on the 26th, the Friday. So,
Okay.
I had intended on going Saturday, but my son had signed us up for a golf tournament. And he was really disappointed when I says, well, I should probably go.
it was a lot cooler where we were at.
And no, it was it was a seaweed,
Yeah, it was warm.
Good.
and we didn't get lucky.
Oh. Oh, good.
Well, it's not about money.
No, necessarily.
All right.
Well, thanks for bringing them in. We'll
You
be
bet.
anxious to
Yeah.
work with you and see you around the county.
All right, guys.
Look forward to it.
You guys need, I've never have brought out that shoulder mount that I've got. You need it.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say a check.
No, yeah, I should probably drop off the check.
And what was
You
the
have to
shoulder
take
mount?
a
What kind of
picture
animal?
of it
It's
and send it to them.
a nice little 10-point buck. You probably got plenty of them. I saw a bunch of them laying there when I was there that day. So.
We have quite a few deer.
We had a spotting of a fawn laying against the fence at the daycare in Lake Mills this morning.
Oh, yeah.
7 o'clock this morning, just nestled in there against the fence right where everybody parks.
It's been a few weeks, but I was getting a lot of calls on baby animals, deer and possums and raccoons and owls. Yeah,
Raccoons are horrible right now.
Yeah.
Fortunately, they're finding their way to the road.
I think I have a possum in my garage. You guys
Is it-
take care of that?
Well, you can call us.
Is it already mounted?
I was gonna
Well,
say,
call-
is it
He's
just
not
as
mounted
mounted?
either.
Give us a call.
No,
We'll
he's
tell you what
leaving,
to do with
he's
it.
leaving signs around. They've got the little half moon scat, right, or whatever you wanna call it. Yeah, that's what I was thinking it was.
Yeah.
I'm not really up on my PC.
I won't comment on that.
Oh, boy.
Well,
All right.
this open forum really expanded.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
Thanks, gentlemen.
Thanks, talk to you later. Take care.
I got one more thing to mention, I guess,
Open forum,
well, or under
We
my
can
item.
go back if you
wanna go back?
Yeah, sure. The bridge up by Rake that we have planned for this year will most likely get closed this week. It's on gravel road, 500th Street, south and east of Osmers.
What happened? I mean, was there an incident or was there just
No, that's just been in our plan to replace it.
Yeah, no,
but it's closed?
It'll be closed on,
it's not closed because the bridge has been condemned, it's just closed.
closing to replace it.
Got it, there you
Yeah,
go.
the construction
starting.
will begin this week, and I'm not sure what day yet.
Yep.
It'll take about a week and a half to get replaced is all.
And what's that one being replaced with?
Just a metal pipe, 72-inch metal pipe. So that's all I got.
Not the type that stands on end with lots of water going through.
No, we got that one fixed up pretty easy though. They were able to bend it back down, drain it all out, and then just cut off a short piece and band it back together.
Oh, going back to water damage problems with the road, you're never gonna collect anything from, is there any monies available for that?
We're turning in damages to emergency management for them to report to FEMA. We'll have damages somewhere between 60 and 80,000, I think, so I think that meets the threshold to get a declaration, or, to qualify for the declaration.
Okay.
We've been tracking everything in our work orders as if it were, and if it isn't, we'll just have to eat that cost, of course.
Right.
If it does qualify, we should have all of our information in a nice orderly manner.
So that's a separate FEMA declaration. Is that state declaration or is that the FEMA one?
FEMA, DR, whatever, 40 something, I can't remember the number.
Did Winnebago County didn't get actually,
That's what I wondered
From
what the difference
FEMA,
was. There was only so many counties over in northwest Iowa that got the FEMA designation.
one time I heard Winnebago County was in it, and
No, that was the state declaration.
Yeah. State declarations haven't done a whole lot for us ever. Usually it's about mutual aid, and we haven't really ever, in my tenure here, needed help from other counties or anything.
Well, hopefully this goes through at some point.
Yeah, it's not a huge amount of money, but it's,
It's important to us.
yeah.
still considered.
So we'll be ready for that, and I guess I don't have any, I don't know what the status of it is, but I can check.
Okay, thanks.
Yep.
Right. Next page. Nothing else for open forum?
Yeah, I do have a quick question. Jim Ullman for Heritage, Historical Society. We have budgeted $2,000, but when he brought in his request, he requested $3,000. And normally we give him $3,000, but for some reason, we put in $2,000 for the request this year, or in the budget. So, do we want to give him $2,000, or do we want to give him $3,000?
Did we reduce others when we were in the
No,
I want to see if I have any notes.
yeah, and I
remember it.
knew there
I
was reason
swear
this
that
book here.
he,
I thought we gave him what he asked.
well, I thought he asked for 2,000, but he
What
swears
section
that
is
he
that
gave a
in?
letter for 3,000,
Is that under 54 or what's that under?
54. But I couldn't find the letter the other day, so I don't know if I threw it away. I usually keep that kind of stuff, but I couldn't find it when I was looking for it. I'm sure it's in there somewhere, but I wouldn't have lowered it unless he asked for 2,000, but
Unless it was just a typo or something.
yeah, I don't know.
For some reason, I remember talking about it.
It's not that big in the big picture.
So I wanted to ask you guys what you wanted to do. If you want to give him 2,000, if you want to give him 3,000.
Let me look here a second. Get close.
I think I should.
I don't think they ever give anything, I don't know. The only time they ever gave him anything is when we challenged, shamed him into it.
By the way, I hate the way these are printed.
Yeah,
These are horrible trying to navigate.
I know.
Found it yet? I haven't even found it.
I'm still working on it. I thought I was close.
I can help you.
We all need
Oh, here it is. I got it.
Okay.
Page 77. It's 54.
I knew that, I just can't find it within it.
Want me to help you?
Historic preservation, we did mark out 3,000 and put it, I wrote in 2,000.
2,000. Yeah, so,
So there was a discussion on it.
2,000. There must have been discussion. So, what was it historically?
it's always been 3.
Always been 3.
Well, we used to give 2 long time ago, then we raised it up to 3, and then
That's on page
79.
78.
we gave him,
Trying to remember what our reasoning would have been, whether it was,
well, like I said, I am almost 100% sure that his letter this year said 2,000. But then he brought in a letter, he said, I pulled this out of the file, but,
This year, is it dated this year though?
well, this is what he gave me. And it does say 3,000, but I swear, I don't know.
So if we change it, we would have to have an amendment or
Um,
within that budget, if it's okay, or
That budget's usually pretty tight,
yeah,
so,
they're specific. It'd have to be a small. and then we did.
They're really doing some good work
they are,
right now.
Yes.
We've got some new volunteers that are really helping, and
I think their social media presence has been really good.
it has been.
A lot of good
yes.
stuff.
I hate to, especially when I've asked for help with the fund and
Yeah,
different things, I hate not to give it, but I don't know.
and I think.
We do an
probably,
amendment anyway.
If you
I don't
remember
know.
the 2000 letter, that maybe that's where it came from, is we thought the letter said 2,000.
Yeah,
unless we were just being snarky, trying to shame.
That's what I was just saying, maybe we were just trying to lower everything there for a while.
It
and
didn't
we were-
seem like it though.
It did, yeah, there weren't very many in there.
I think we were looking for bigger fish on that.
yeah, I don't know.
I
So-
guess I'm not against doing an amendment when we need to, on something like that. Do it right.
It was probably just a typo.
I-
His part,
Yeah,
not yours.
I'm not against it, I guess, I like history.
Yeah, I wanted to get your guys' opinion before I did anything. So,
History and those who try to preserve it.
In lieu of this threat of history going away, guess I going to 3.
I'm fine with that.
Do 3,000, okay. All right,
It's fun to be able to go back and look at those notes, because
Yeah.
it's fun that
This
you,
is where I'd like to have more storage, so they don't just sit on the shelf. We have a place to put stuff.
You get a bookshelf right over there.
Maybe since you're not utilizing that space, if we just had a cabinet to put our stuff in,
well, we could.
or even up on the safe, reach, you'd have to open there.
yeah.
Even if we mounted something on the wall, I could grab it. Doesn't have to be expensive.
I bet we have a bookshelf downstairs that we could put up there.
Yeah,
And it might look nicer than all this stuff laying behind us, too.
just a cute one or something, anything.
I'll see what I can find.
I don't think we need the full space, but it's just 12-inch feet.
Some of the stuff I've got there, is what's,
Those are
all these goodies in here
in the house, some house.
are, one of them's just an empty binder.
If you need a binder,
Supervisor's copy of financial budget 2008, 2009, do we need that?
wow, that's right before me.
Might be interesting, is there any notes in it?
One for your
So
history?
what did we give them
Look to
that?
see if there are notes in it.
I don't know if we were giving it to them then.
Directory, State of Iowa and County Officials, 2007,
I'm looking at
2008.
I have starting 2011, I think.
Would you like to keep these for,
This is also 2008, 2009 here. Jennifer Felstead.
That's historical.
You're in the office, but your name is different.
Yeah. Unfortunately.
We assume it's you.
Yeah, it looks like most of this stuff,
I think if those are ones that predate your files, you should have.
I can't even find
it's
54.
2019. The drainage district.
Something
Back then, the numbers used to be different.
Yeah, there's no 54 at all, but they're general
Can we
miscellaneous.
take a 3-minute?
All right, sorry. Yeah.
Oh,
Well, back then, we had, under 54, I found it, it is numerical order, but, housing rehabilitation and development grant and loan, we had 90,000 available.
here's a
Back in
official,
05, 06, then it dropped out.
official sample ballot, or if it's say sample. Official special election ballot, June 29th, 1999.
That would be for our lost tax.
That one was on here somewhere.
Yep.
So in 05, 06, ambulance services, we were 12,000, 07, 08, we went up to 15,000. But that was for EMS training fund.
Benchmark agribusiness, eminent domain detailed appraisal report. Domain is coming.
Was it an actual case or?
Fee simple acquisition. On record. Must have been, there's a name on it,
What year?
but,
What year?
I haven't seen the year yet. But it's, Valerie and Elaine Nelson are the property owners. $2010,
Yeah,
county engineers
is that the one over on A42 maybe? We widen the road.
I see that here with the trolley, and
I don't think it actually went to.
We didn't get that far.
I don't remember anything actually going to eminent domain since I've
I
been
think
here.
it got close. They started the procedure, but never actually.
Speaking of eminent domain, are we gonna go to open forum or at some point discuss some kind of a resolution against it to support the counties that are battling?
I guess we can put it on the agenda. We have a document to look at.
You want it on for next week?
You got it. The email I remember reading had a canned, or some county's resolution that we could copy. We should have to go back and look at the email. County news from 2019.
All right, I think we've. So you're gonna put that on the agenda for next week and try and find that document?
Which document?
We received an email from somebody at one point that had a sample resolution for
Eminent domain.
eminent domain in our,
For the pipeline.
for unnecessary things.
For private profit.
I have not seen that email.
So if you find this, support
Yeah.
it.
Send it to,
Yeah.
I wonder if I can find it again.
Okay, we're gonna go on to number 13. Consider for approval pay application number 9 for Larson Contracting for Public Health Building Addition.
This one?
Yes.
Application certificate payment for $66,872. Is this final?
No.
No.
We're gonna do the punch list Friday. Or some of the punch lists. The outside.
The inside punch list.
Huh?
The inside punch list.
Yeah, well, we'll do punch lists on the outside, but it's just gonna be a big punch list. They're still waiting for capstone and something else.
What's the big dumpster still there for? Still trash that's coming out of there that they need that big roll off?
Find out on Friday.
We'll check.
Make the motion. Well, you did make the motion, didn't you? You made it.
I didn't make it. I just announced it. So you made the motion.
I am going to motion to approve pay app number 9 for Larson Contracting for Public Health Building Addition.
I'll second. Motion from Smith and a second from Derby to approve pay app number 9 for Larson Contracting for Public Health Building Addition. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, motion carries. All right. Number 14, county claims.
He's in the cleaning mode. Research.
Have I seen the claims anywhere yet? Oh, there it is, right there. Sorry,
That's all right.
slack.
You're preoccupied. Would anybody want
Did
this?
everybody look at the claims?
County news from, I did, from 19?
1919,
We have a
2019. That's not bad. It's only
Yeah.
5 years.
Northwood, anchor here too for some reason.
Oh, I probably brought that in, because I get the Northwood paper. I'm sure there was something. It's like this all the time. It's county news, the whole front page, always. I did look at them. I'll make the motion to approve the county claims.
I'll second.
Got a motion from Smith and a second from Jenslow to approve the county claims. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, motion carries. Payroll claims.
Where's the Four Cities UPS drop off?
There's one at Walmart.
There's
Right
a
in
drop
that
box.
door,
In the
How
back
big
door.
is the package?
small envelope.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've had a box get stuck in there.
I know which one you're talking about, because I've had a box get stuck in there. Is that
It's
still
just-
there?
You can take one to, sometimes, depends on how
Otherwise,
soon you want it to go out,
I need it to go out right away.
Speed
then
house
go over there.
takes it.
I know, but I'm here, so I was thinking about, so it's in that little side door, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, that's when I got a box stuck into one time. I felt kind of bad about it.
I got mine out, but it was
Oh, I
not
didn't
easy.
get mine out, I just kept pushing on. Then actually, I went to my car, got a Post-it note and put on there, because I was afraid that you'd open the bottom and wouldn't know it was stuck in the top.
So you dropped the post-it beyond it then.
No, I stuck it right to the front of it. Not one of my better days. Anybody heard anything about the new newspaper?
Just that they are,
It's a for sure thing.
Oh, nice.
the company's interested in moving forward, so. The same company that has this stuff over there.
Oh, is it?
I did not make it out to the open house in that retirement, because it was busy.
It was a busy day.
Realtor Terry?
No, it was a busy day.
We were not well attended then, were we? It was probably good because there was some, more people in the area, but it felt like it was a little unfortunate because there was just too many things going on that day.
Mhm. Right, yeah, it was busy.
Originally, I thought they were only gonna do it during the weekday when everybody works. It's good to have it on a Saturday, have a chance to get out.
Mhm.
I've had questions, what's their normal hours, are they open on the weekend at all?
We actually need to encourage and or require that, because I've had lots of comments about weekend hours.
A little evil, but, so I guess we've done our tour of duty on it for the nature center, and how they thought it was wasted. Which, the intentions were good, it wasn't supposed to have the county money in it.
I would say weekends and evenings. We need to make sure
It
that
doesn't have to
it's,
be every weekend or every, just
No.
once in a while.
but it also needs to be kind of standard so that people know. You don't have to, it's kind of my pet peeve when you have to go look up.
Or good communication.
I don't think this one got stamped.
It must have been stuck together or something, it can't be like, oh.
want them all to say July 19th?
This is July 60.
Bad.
Don't do that, Jim.
It's just giving you a bad time.
It's just don't.
I'm
There's
looking
no
at
way I
this-
did that.
I'm looking at the stamp over here going, what are you nuts?
Yeah. I'm gonna start getting a tick, something. There, I think something's good. Did I do it right?
There's a number of things that I actually missed on Saturday because there were so many things going on. I should have been at and Sunday. Oh, I do need to, I had to get a new phone and I lost a bunch of stuff. Can somebody tell me when we all agreed to man the fair booth? 'Cause I lost that email.
I have two.
I
I'm trying to
can't-
text
Are you talking
Marcia.
about the political party one? Or what, fair?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't get on the list. There's a Saturday afternoon, isn't it? Or the
that's what
Saturday
I'm not
evening.
sure.
I
I know
have-
it's
I have
Saturday.
that text where you responded.
Okay, because I need to know.
And I asked Marcia, I didn't, because she sent that message out when she was sitting at the EMS council meeting beforehand. And I was on my way in, and I was on my way home. By the time I got home, everybody had filled all the spots. I had no chance to get on. So
I
she
saw
sent
that you didn't, yeah,
So
get on.
I asked her, send me the list, and I'll just jump in with somebody. She sent me a list, but no names on it.
You wanted to pick and
Just-
choose who
just
you were
the
gonna sit
times.
there with? I'm just teasing you. So I've lost that. I feel
Well,
like
she said
it
there
was
was a
the,
couple of new central committee members. She wanted me to pair with them. I don't know which one. Those are
Oh, I
the
see.
names.
Mhm.
I see Matt Whitaker is one of our delegates at the convention. Looking up the names of the 40. I did not see Bill Chensel's name. You'd be there right now.
I'm afraid I might say something.
which board was Carla just saying you should be on the other day? That you needed to be on? Wasn't it Carla that was saying that you should?
Or was it yesterday at the meeting, they wanted me to be on that one for the,
Oh,
Daycare. stuff.
that's what it was.
Here it is.
Just tell me what my time frame is, that's all I need to know.
Here, I'll just.
Oh, by the way, Marcia thought maybe the friend you were going to bring was me, and I'm like, no, I think I know
We're not
who
friends.
that person is.
Oh, we're not.
I said, I have to be careful who I spend time with there because
Okay,
it'd be a form.
now I know.
I never thought
Did
of
you
that.
need to see so you can choose, or,
I haven't probably.
oh, you
I
did?
never delete anything.
Thanks. Well, I didn't delete it on purpose, but it's really weird when you normally have, 4,000 emails and you go and there's 4.
That was all text, wasn't it?
Or what?
Yeah, text.
Text.
Yep.
All my pictures were gone, so I spent a long time at Verizon.
So I didn't take my to the meeting yesterday because I would download all of my pictures and videos from my phone, close to 2,000, a lot of videos, to my OneDrive.
Mm.
And then from my OneDrive this morning, I am now, right now, transferring it onto a backup drive.
So did you just run out of space?
Well, my phone's running out of space, so I gotta delete a lot of stuff, so. I can't believe I could store that many videos on there to start with.
So do we know, is next Tuesday a court day or not, that we can,
Today is court day.
so
yeah, as I
we-
say, I saw the judge pull up today, so.
so if we could put, there was quite a few emailed conversations between Matt Dubay and Thad and Kelsey, so we probably need to get that figured out.
And you want Benny on for tomorrow too?
Are we ready for that? You mean for next Tuesday?
Yeah.
That's how we had
We
set it
left
up,
it, yeah.
but only if Matt and Kelsey can be there to weigh in.
I will put it on the agenda, or I will talk to
Invite
them.
them, yeah.
Yeah.
Because there are others that I called and invited to come to that meeting. If they're on the agenda. I'll make a motion to approve the payroll claims.
Got a motion from Smith and a second from Gentle to approve the payroll claims. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, motion carries. I think that ends our agenda, correct? Stand adjourned.
Made it all the way through the meeting without a sniper on top of